Welcome back to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast. Here to begin the second segment on the show, talking about the Steelers and their quarterback battle that essentially started this week. The Steelers began their OTAs on Tuesday, a day later than some of the other teams that began on Monday, and because of that, all eyes were on the two new quarterbacks there in Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are pretty familiar with each other. They're actually friends. They've known each other for a while. Justin Fields even going as far as saying that he emulated Russell Wilson before he got into the NFL. He is one of those guys that he looked up to. And it is funny now how they're just competing against each other to be that starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what is funny about that also is that it already seems predetermined that Russell Wilson will be the quarterback. At least that is according to Mike Tomlin. He deemed Russell Wilson as being in pole position to be that quarterback one come the first week of the NFL regular season. But he also mentioned that Justin Fields will have the opportunity to compete for that job. So what does that exactly mean? Mike Tomlin throws a lot of sayings and catchphrases, Tomlinisms, as they've been branded now around the NFL. So, how much of that is legit? How much of a real chance will Justin Fields get? And, the question for me really becomes, how big of a margin of error is there now for Russell Wilson in this quarterback battle than originally, speculated when Mike Tomlin came out with those statements? After the first day of OTAs, not too much is going into it. They're going through the usual beginning drills of it all. You don't want to go too hard, too fast. And through that, of course, afterwards of the practice, there was a media session for some local media, and they talked to Justin Fields about this whole situation just to get his thoughts on his approach, what he's feeling out there as one of the new quarterbacks of the Steelers, to which he said, "I'm definitely competing. Russ knows that. We're competing against each other every day. I definitely don't have the mindset of me just sitting all year. I'm coming in every day, giving it all I've got, pushing him to be his best, and he's pushing me to be my best each and every day." Pretty interesting what he mentioned there. Really embracing this idea of a competition, like most would probably assume, but at the same time, it seems just the way he's talking about it. Now, you could speculate maybe Mike Tomlin has said something to both of them that it might be a closer competition behind closed doors just to the both of them, but that's the kind of feeling I'm getting with hearing Justin Fields say something like this. It is the right mindset you want to have, but at the same time, I feel like not a lot of guys who know they're going to be the number two, who know that they have an uphill battle to try and be that quarterback one, and that the team has already said they're going to be the backup. Not many guys would say, I'm coming in here to compete, and I don't have the mindset of sitting all day. I can't name another guy, number two quarterback, that has been so confident and adamant that he is going to jump over the guy in front of him to be that quarterback number one for the respective team. Again, it sort of pushes the envelope a little bit of there being less of a margin of error here for Russell Wilson to maneuver and sort of have a little leeway with the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Justin Fields a lot closer maybe behind them than a lot of people originally thought. That's sort of where I'm inclined to believing right now, where the Steelers sort of head into this OTA period, then into mandatory minicamp, how that starts to slowly change, maybe how freely people start talking about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields being a lot closer than the original statement would have suggested. On top of that, Fields also mentioned that he wanted to be in Pittsburgh because of Mike Tomlin as well and the Steelers organization as a whole. He also believed that he has a lot more room to grow and saw Pittsburgh as the ideal spot to do that. And I think, again, with those conversations that you have with the head coach, with the general manager, or whoever you speak to during the free agent period, there has to be some clarity, I would have to imagine, and believe that the Steelers would have provided to Justin to make him believe that he can come in here and really have a shot at being the number one quarterback, because at the same time, it doesn't make sense for the Steelers to bring him in and just sit him all year and have Russell Wilson 100%, he's our quarterback, we're not moving off of that. It seems that way, the way Mike Tomlin has sort of painted it out, with saying Russell Wilson is in the pole position to be the starting quarterback. But again, it sort of leaves that door a little bit open because if you remember, both of these quarterbacks are essentially on a 1 year deal. Russell Wilson signing that 1 year free agent contract after that whole situation with the Denver Broncos. They're paying most of his salary. So the Steelers have nothing really to lose with Russell Wilson. Yeah, he brings all the experience, all the pedigree that comes along with all the success that he's had. He certainly has more success than Justin Fields at this point in his career, or at the points of each of their careers. Russell Wilson being now closer to 35, 36 years old. He's been to Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl, so he does have that experience under his belt. But again, you look at Justin Fields, if you want him to be your number two quarterback, one, you could have extended him if you really thought he could have a chance to be that quarterback eventually. They didn't pick up that fifth year option, but at the same time, not knowing what you have in Justin Fields by keeping him on the bench all season doesn't seem like the smartest move to me. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would have to imagine, throw him out there at some point to at least know and alleviate some of this doubt that you have of whether maybe or not Justin Fields could be your starting quarterback. Maybe he's not developed enough. Maybe this wasn't the right situation. You won't have those answers until you throw him out there. Now, saying that, there is mixed feelings about when Justin Fields could potentially start this season, if at all. Some people around the NFL believe that Justin Fields will see early action a lot earlier than most people would believe in the earlier part of the season. Some believe it'll come halfway through, maybe after the bye week. There's a lot of give and take on that topic. A lot of people giving their different opinions. It's also worth noting that the Pittsburgh Steelers now, it's not like Russell Wilson is coming in there being on the Steelers last year, going through all the turbulations of Matt Canada and that offense to have the upper hand on Justin Fields. Both of them are coming in fresh. Both of them are trying to learn a system along with everybody else. So that, again, is another reason for me to believe that the margin of error, the room between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields isn't really like this. It's more so a lot closer like this, I believe, just because they're trying to learn a new system with Arthur Smith, as well as is everybody on that offensive line, the receivers, the running backs. Everyone is in the same boat to start. So there's no real upper hand other than Russell Wilson has just a better resume right now than Justin Fields does. But where they have been playing recently, it's a lot closer in performance than a lot of people would give Justin Fields credit for at the end of the day. And I believe, again, that it is closer than most people would give Justin Fields credit for. But again, it makes you now even more think of the possibility as to why the Pittsburgh Steelers wouldn't name this an open competition between both quarterbacks. Why would they say Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback right now to sign to that 1 year deal? Well, my theory around that whole situation, what I would answer to that would be, I think it really just comes down to getting the best out of both quarterbacks and sort of where they are in their career. You know, you're Russell Wilson. I mentioned all the accolades he has before. You don't want to be in a quarterback battle with Justin Fields, who is on his expiring rookie contract, hasn't really proven to be that first-round talent of quarterback that he showed at Ohio State. So you sort of get the best of both worlds by saying Russell Wilson is the starter and Justin Fields will have an opportunity, because Russell Wilson comes in with the expectation that he will just continue being the starter. He believes he's still a starting quarterback, so you give him that peace of mind to come in and say, I'm the guy. I'm going to run with the number ones. It's really my show to lose at the end of the day. And for Justin Fields, you give him a bigger chip on his shoulder to work harder, to try and develop a lot faster, to prove to all the coaches and everyone around the NFL that he truly can be a starting quarterback in this league. And that's sort of my thinking as to why Mike Tomlin would paint this out to be Russell Wilson's job to lose in the first place, to try and keep both of them happy, I guess, is the term for a lack of a better one. But at the same time, just getting the best out of both of them. Russell Wilson comes into a situation that he's already used to, being the starting quarterback, and Justin Fields has to once again prove himself and work harder to develop as a young quarterback. He is only still 25 years old, so that's also, again, why I would agree with Justin, where he certainly has more room to grow. And on that point, most importantly, that you get to see more good from Justin Fields, and it is essential that you see more positives out of Justin Fields this year, because the closer I think this quarterback battle, the speculation grows more and more. I think that's only better for the Steelers because Justin Fields is improving, and at the same time, Russell Wilson will have to, again, try and work harder now. If Justin Fields, and he hears everyone talking about Fields getting closer to him, he'll work harder. And I think the Steelers have painted it out to be a very competitive camp for the quarterbacks, for all the positions on their offense and just defense as a whole. It seems like that's the attitude they want to embrace this year, and it starts from the quarterbacks, and I think it'll only benefit them going into 2024. They certainly have a lot to work around, like we talked about last week, how hard their schedule is, all the new sort of coaches and players that they have to integrate. It is going to take a big effort to get that all in line, but if they don't have a quarterback, how much does all that other stuff really matters. I think they've painted out this plan, this map out pretty well. Mike Tomlin, no surprise, knows what he's doing. How it gets executed, that's a whole different story. We're going to have to wait until September for those answers. But in the meantime, we'll continue on with the show. More on the Atlanta Falcons and their new head coach, Raheem Morris, how he's implementing his new stamp on the Atlanta Falcons and what he wants to bring to that organization, plus some early takeaways from the New York Jets, start of OTAs, and also talking about the NFL maybe implementing some more technology into the game of football that we all know and love. Stay tuned to find out more on those stories. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.